Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club. Your number one stop for stellar reviews of volumes, arcs, or stories that us or yourselves choose. You can find us live every Wednesday on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and the replay on all podcast networks. Take a seat, get yourselves and your opinions ready, as it's time to join the herd. But first, please put your hands together for your hosts, Shane, Phil, and Scott, as they kick off this week's discussion.
Ahoy hoy and welcome to the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club. I'm this week's host Shane because I pick the book, and I'm joined as always by my own Masters of the Universe. I've got Phil.
Hello.
And I've got Scott.
Hello.
Like the after hours hello.
Oh yeah.
So, as I said, it's my pick this week, and I have picked He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Volume 1 from 2012 by DC Comics. This has multiple writers and artists, so it was written by James Robinson and Keith Giffen, with art by Philip Tan and Howard Porter. Again, various colorists, and letters by Carlos M. Mangual. Did we settle on Mangual? Mangual. I'm just completely ignored the M. Letters are hard. So yes, I picked this. So I will give a synopsis in a sec. Let me just quickly say hello to people who are in the herd, in the chat, because they've jumped in before we even went live. So we're going to have to scroll back just a little bit to say hello to everyone. So we've got the Funky Gibbons in. Heidi Ho. Hi, Liam. Thanks for joining. We have James Copley. Yo, 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 in the house. Booyakasha, bra, bra, bra. I'm not doing that again.
You won't do it again, because next time he'll make it even harder. And
we'll stick with the yo, yo, yo in the house from James from now on.
I think so.
And that'll be it, just a little bit easier for us. And Kevin's in as well. I need a shower. Please read as He-Man. Oh, I need a shower. See, I think the slight problem with that is, Scott, I don't think you watch He-Man. I don't think you know.
Never watched it, mate. Too young, and I.
So those things are lost on poor young little Bubby Scott up there. So we'll have to send him some clips so he gets these references that I'm sure you're going to throw in the chat.
I understand. Like, I have the power, and by the power of Grayskull, I'm aware of the important things and the main stuff, but
pop culture stuff.
Yeah, the memes. But
oh, good.
Apart from that, it's all wasted on me.
Well, I'm very interested to see what you have to say about this book. But first, let me give a quick synopsis of Volume 1 of He-Man and the Master of the Universe. So, with the aid of a treacherous Trollan, Skeletor has taken Castle Grayskull and is torturing the sorceress for its secrets. But where are the Masters of the Universe? Skeletor has erased their memories and scattered them throughout Eternia. One day, while Adam is just living his best life, he's visited by the mysterious Zor, a mystical Valken sent by the sorceress to ignite a spark of memory, just enough to send Adam on a quest for answers. Along the way, Adam will meet some old friends and some even more old enemies as he tries to figure out who he is and why his uncle wants him dead so badly. Will Skeletor find the secrets of Castle Grayskull, or will Adam become the man he is meant to be? See? Get the dad joke pun out of the way really early there.
Good.
So yeah, that's the synopsis for Volume 1. I'm really interested to know what Scott, because Scott has no prior knowledge of He-Man bar the pop culture stuff. So yeah. Scott, can we start with you with your initial thoughts?
Yeah. As someone who's completely new, let's just write off the fact that I know the memes and whatever. I didn't know anything about this universe. All I knew, I didn't even know his name was Adam. I just knew there was a guy called He-Man, and there was a guy called Grayskull, and they hated each other, and that was it. That's all I know. I didn't know who else these masters were.
His name's not Grayskull, it's Skeletor.
There we go. Exactly. That's how oblivious. And I've read the thing as well. Skeletor. Sorry. Yeah, I know he's a thing. But yeah, and that's all I knew before going into this. I'd seen a couple of people on Instagram with like figures and stuff from He-Man, so I was kind of aware of some of what characters looked like, but again, knew nothing about them. But yeah, I mean, this was a decent introduction to a lot of different things. I was surprised to know that Skeletor was Adam's uncle. That was a surprise for me because that's not something you see really. The bad guy is a relative of the good guy, so that was a fun dynamic to kind of read into. And then when we get introduced to all of the other bad guys that Skeletor sends after Adam in each issue, whilst I was a bit like, this is very Monster of the Week, but it was also nice to see different characters and villains or whatever for Adam to fight, and I didn't find them too they were introduced well. That's what I'm trying to say. For me, I didn't go, who the hell is this? I know nothing about this character. Like, I was okay with who I was introduced to, and I didn't feel lost or confused. It just reminded me of like reading the Power Rangers stuff. It was like Rita Repulsa sending in one of her putties, and this is exactly what it is. Skeletor is just sending in.
That's one of my notes.
Yeah. So that's how I found it.
That's really good for a new reader like you to say you weren't lost. I think that's such a compliment.
No.
That's a compliment you can give to the book. So
yeah, well, let's just say I understood, but it wasn't that hard.
Mm-hmm. No, but I mean the lore is there. But again, you didn't feel lost, which is perfect for new readers and then old readers like myself. So like that, right. I feel like they succeeded there. Then, if you were able to not feel like they were bombarding you with stuff. I didn't feel bombarded. I think it was quite well paced, and it felt like each issue had a different theme. Yeah,
as well,
I think cool. They kind of kept the theme of the old TV show because that's what that was, very Monster of the Week.
Okay.
Phil, judging by your name, do you want to tell everyone on the podcast what your screen name is this week?
Yeah, it is. I have the. Boy, listen. Different, slightly different than you and Scott. That I am maybe more aware of the cartoon, but I'm not a He-Man fan. It was still slightly before my time. It was more. I remember my brother would have watched it, and I remember playing with the toys when I was a kid. But it was never my cartoon to watch. But obviously, I'm aware of what it is. But I want to refer to this panel. So at the point where Tila and Adam were having a fight in the cauldron of fire.
Mm-hmm.
Eva Lynn, this is the quote she says, on with it. I grow bored. You do not want me to grow bored. Like, it's so ironic because I was bored this whole 6 issues. Bored out of my skull, my grey skull.
Okay.
Bored out of his grey skull.
He got the pun this week.
It's just this. What happened? I mean, it took 5 issues before Adam got his power.
To be fair, the only thing keeping me interested in this book was the fact that there was a new character for me to, learn about every issue. Like, story-wise, yeah, I think I'm on a similar wavelength to Phil. It left a lot to be desired, unfortunately.
That's a shame because, like, as a He-Man fan, I mean, I grew up with this. It started the year I was born, so this is my jam. I was a little bit worried that this was going to be either incredibly repetitive of just the old TV show, or they were going to rewrite it. So like, I was quite worried with issue 1. I was like, oh, Adam's a woodsman, not a prince. They've rewritten it. So I was already on edge until we find out his memories have been erased and everything is how it should be. It's just Skeletor has done a spell. So I was like, okay, I calmed down a little bit after that, because the first few pages, I'm like, I don't want a woodsman to become He-Man. I want Prince Adam back. And then I think it just did a good job of introducing a new person into the world, but also me, who knows the world and knows what to expect, to subvert my expectations by completely just starting me somewhere lost. You know, I was lost, and I quite enjoyed that. Him just trying to figure out who he was. I knew he was going to become He-Man again. Obviously, it's He-Man and the Master of the Universe. So I wasn't waiting for it. I was just looking forward to it.
Right.
Well, when you say you were looking forward to Adam discovering his power or whatever again, like 5 issues off it, I mean, you know, like do that in the end of issue 1, I would say, would have worked for him to discover whatever, and then have a few battle scenes with different enemies, whatever, as it go along. But it was issue 5, wasn't it? They had that fight and they got the sword and stuff. Like, it just seemed like not what was the point, because it didn't. I don't think it built the characters up any more than, you know, they weren't strong. They were just like normal, like woodsmen and whatever else. Like, but they knew they had a memory of how to fight and this and that, which was good, but not for 4 issues worth. I just think get there slightly sooner.
I think I would have been quite happy with him not getting his powers until he faced off with Skeletor. Like, maybe Adam faced off with Skeletor bests Adam, and then Adam gets his power because he needs it to defeat Skeletor. I would have been okay with that. But I see what you're saying. But then again, as a He-Man fan, I feel like the writer maybe wanted to give Adam some screen time and Adam some action. Which writer? Probably all of them, because I feel Adam is very underused in the He-Man cartoon. You know, whenever danger happens, he's like, "Oh, I forgot the oven's on," and he runs off screen so that He-Man can come and save the day. So it was nice to see Adam face off with Beastman and Merman, and you know, it just gave and Trapjaw. I mean, Trapjaw is a great character, but it was just nice to see Adam actually capable for a change. So. Yeah, but I completely see your point. Had he been He-Man by the end of issue 1, I would have been just as happy. So
I did quite enjoy the whole the muscle memory aspect. You know, of him going, you know, how the hell can I do this? And you know, I'm really good at I'm surprising myself and all this. Yeah, and it was fun to watch. You know, and yeah, it was just a bit entertaining. And then you do see it then throughout the story that he's slowly piecing stuff together, and so is Teela. I still don't understand her role, to be honest. Maybe I missed something, or maybe it was hard for everyone to understand.
Teela is Adam's bodyguard. She's Prince Adam's bodyguard, if that helps.
Well, it does now. I didn't get any of, like, go on.
Quick hello to Connie, who's joined. Hi, Connie. And Highland G, sorry. With hi everyone. Never read any He-Man, interested to see how this goes. Well, it's not going well on my part. The scales are very tipped.
There's nothing bad about it. Like, it's not like it's poorly written or doesn't look well. Some pages were a wee bit ugly, but we'll get to that. But it didn't provide the entertainment that many other books before it have done. I just felt like we didn't get a full story. We did. We got the start, the middle, and the end, I suppose. But in terms of, like, you could have done a lot more with it. Like Scott mentioned earlier on, he wasn't bombarded with stuff because there wasn't a lot of stuff to bombard him with. You know what I mean? Like, we're capable of taking in more. Give us a little bit more, we can absorb that. I just felt like it just left a lot of that out.
You know, like the whole, like, you know, Monster of the Week stuff, I wouldn't have minded if there was, you know, per half of an issue, maybe. And then that would have helped us speed along and get to, you know, the bit that we all wanted, and that was Adam to transform into He-Man.
I get it. I do.
So like, as a volume 1, like, so how many issues is this run?
75.
Ooh,
72.
Okay. Well, in the grand scheme of it, then it doesn't take long for him to get to that transformation bit. But as a volume 1, as the first 6 issues, it would have been nicer to read a bit more than just one issue of him, like, being fully He-Man.
Like, I always think that if you're reading this in single issues, and we've mentioned this before, if you're reading this in single issues once a month, you would get to issue 2 or 3 and probably drop it from your pull list because it's not delivering what you think it should deliver. I think. But as a one like a complete volume, sure, you're getting. Obviously, he finds himself again, finds the power, and everyone remembers everybody, and they kind of defeat Skeletor, and that sets up the next run. By all means, a good introduction. But it's just shouldn't be 6 issues long, in my opinion.
I thought, like, one of my notes is that the story flows really well. Like, it's a hero's journey, rediscovering himself, and the travel, I thought, made perfect sense because he goes from the woods to the desert to the sea to the island. Like, it flowed. It wasn't just, oh, this issue starts and he's somewhere else. This issue, like, you saw the progression, and he was dealing with someone every time, which I thought was, you don't really see that in single issues normally. Like, especially when it's in a trade, some of the issues can be just, oh, it's just talking for issue 3, and then issue 4 is the action, and then like every issue had action in it.
Oh yeah.
He fights Beastman and Merman and Trapjaw and Evil Lyn and Cringer, and then finally Skeletor. So all 6 issues had the action, and I personally, again, but this is me, I'm really biased. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. I am a He-Man fan. I had all the toys growing up, all the videos, and VHSs for you older people out there.
But I'm also, I mean, I loved the Dolph Lundgren movie. Fantastic movie. So I have a bit of experience with He-Man.
No, that movie is trash.
Have you ever watched it, Scott?
No.
You really should.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Courtney Cox in it, the young Courtney Cox.
Courtney Cox is in it,
great.
yes. And a young Tom Paris from Star Trek Voyager.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Sounds like a perfect film.
It's more Star Wars than He-Man, I think, that film. Like, they've got laser blasters and there's aliens. It's very weird, the route they went with the movie.
better than this, though.
So as you know, as negative as we may be sounding, I can definitely see the appeal to this for some people. Like Shane, you are a huge fan of the He-Man stuff, and maybe this was written for you. And you know, I'm not saying I didn't like it, but I'm probably not as hyped as you are. You know, to read this. You know, I know nothing. So to me, this is just about a guy named Adam who chops trees down, who, you know, fights these random monsters because his skeleton uncle is, you know, trying to kill him for something because of some sort of power that this bird sorceress is keeping away from him and has convinced him is in this castle. It's an intriguing concept. It's a bit mental when you explain it like that.
That sounds better than what
It's not better. You just read that.
Can you write that story, but just better than this?
Just put a Welsh accent all over it, and that's it.
Let's see what people in the chat thought of it. Let's see if they agreed with me or if they agreed with you lot. Let's say. Found Adam and Tila really annoying, says Kevin. So fair enough. I think the bickering got a bit much throughout the book. They're like the snarky one-liners and the comments with each other. Connie says, this book bored the crap clean out of me, but I have never watched He-Man ever. The book was definitely for He-Man fans. Yeah. See, I think yes, but I think they did try to bring new people in by doing the whole memory reset thing. So you were following along with Adam, learning as he learns. I think they tried. James Copley says, I found it boring and found Adam annoying. That's two people found Adam annoying. And Connie says, I'm not liking these comments tonight. Connie says, the issues felt like a kids' TV show episode. Well, it was a kids' TV show. They'd be in a bizarre situation. Adam would randomly remember he can do something. They escape the bad guys, rinse and repeat. Yeah, I guess. And Liam says, I wouldn't say I found it boring, but agree with you otherwise, Connie. So he agrees with everything else. So I think I'm in the minority here. Well, yes. I say a minority, I'm on my own.
Yeah, that's a
A
very
minority of one.
it's a very small minority. I know that Pete isn't here tonight, and
He
he
would
couldn't
be
make
on
it.
my side.
Yeah, he sent us a score, and I'll let you know that later. But I know, oh yeah, but I know that he is a massive He-Man fan, isn't he?
Yeah, we've got like all the toys still and everything. Like I'm
Yeah.
super jealous. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So
So shall we talk about the art for a little while and show our pages?
let's go ahead.
I'm going to click this. Ooh. I will just say, as much as I enjoyed this book, the art is so hit and miss in this. It's unreal. Like you can tell there are multiple artists, and like it is very jarring because if you look at some of the issues, it says pages 12 to 13 drawn by this person and 15 to 17. But that's one of my biggest pet peeves in a comic book.
same.
Is that
Multiple artists in one issue.
is that a DC thing? Because I only ever see this in DC books.
I know it's terrible. It's like they're trying to rush the comic out. Like they have it written.
This is what I don't understand because it's like 70 odd issues for the complete run. This is the first 6 issues, and the artists are already behind.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, how can you be so far behind that you're pulling people into complete pages in the first 6 issues? Surely you should have like the first 12 done and complete, and then take it from there.
Yeah.
Well, you would think.
Yeah. Unless maybe the pages just weren't very good, and the editors thought, well, we'll take that page out, get someone else to draw that. I don't know, but it just feels that it's a weird concept or weird idea to have multiple artists.
I think we talked about it before when it happened. Like we said, maybe they had edited some extra like storyboard in, like that was maybe missing from the overall.
Maybe.
But especially when an artist does like 2 pages,
Yeah.
like that doesn't. I don't understand that at all. Like
But-
pages 10 and 11 by a completely different person.
But Scott is right. Like I've only ever seen that with DC, and I still see it today. It's not like when was this
Oh,
book?
yeah.
2012. When was this book, Shane? What year?
2012. Yeah.
So like I still see it today. It's still a thing that happens today. And again, you don't often see it in Marvel. I'm sure it does happen. I'm sure there are Marvel books that are the same, but definitely I've seen it the most with DC.
Yeah, 100%.
That's all.
And I'm sure our pages will reflect this. I doubt we've all picked the same artist. Phil, we'll start with your page. You can tell us why you picked this one.
I picked this page because I had to pick a page. So I picked this page. To be fair,
There's no snow.
yeah, no, but there's fire. There's still an element of some sort, you know. Obviously the flames, and that's what kind of attracted me to this page, was more like kind of the change in the color. They were fighting the cold. I think the page before that, I think it was like cold, because obviously it wasn't lit up. It was like blue. It was cold feeling, and all of a sudden had this fight on top of the platform, and then the flames are going up, and it was a good fight scene. I mean, Tila
Really
for
like Atlas face.
yeah, the tongue sticking out and getting beat up by Tila and stuff was really cool. But Tila did spend an awful lot of time in this outfit as well, with her, everything in full show type of thing. And I thought that was
so
quite
Red
odd.
Sonja, Red Sonja, isn't it?
But yeah, this page was the first page that stood out for me, and this is quite late on. But this is the first one I thought I'll screenshot this whilst I'm reading it, because there's been nothing previously that was really satisfied with. So,
Oh no.
yeah.
But I thought it was an interesting concept, making 2 people fight to the death for everyone's amusement.
But of course they fought to the death. They threw, or Adam fell in, and he thought that was over, but no, she lifted Adam out, and they had to fight again and keep going till there was more blood. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. So for a page you had to pick, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Scott and I picked the same page.
Ooh.
So, what's so special about it? Scott,
Oh, me
what
first?
did you
Okay.
like? Yeah, go on.
So this was one of the very last pages of the whole run where, I need to say Grayskull then, where Skeletor is finally defeated and he's sent to hell. Is that where he's gone? I assume he goes
No,
to some
he
sort
just fell
of...
down a cavern.
Oh, mate, I think he's in hell, though.
He just fell down a cavern.
Oh, okay. Anyway, he's fallen down this cavern, and he is looking battered. You know, he's looking absolutely disheveled, and I'm really like, the thing that took me by surprise was in one of the middle panel on the right. There was, how can you make a skull look tired? And it was just that. But I really like the detail on this page as well. There's lots of cool things to look at on this, and yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I pretty much picked it for the same reason, like seeing Skeletor battered and defeated and just broken, like his skull is cracked and everything. Like, He-Man did not hold back when they were fighting, and it makes a change, because like I'm used to seeing the old cartoon where, you know, one punch, Skeletor would be defeated and run off, and that's it. He'd live to fight another day. But at the end of this book, it doesn't look like he's going to live to fight another day. He looks wrecked, and it was just so jarring in a good way to see. It was just a treat for me to see that.
Did anyone else, I mean, we mentioned this before about hearing like a voice whenever you're reading certain characters. 100% it was Mark Hamill.
It's not Mark Hamill. No, it is not. No.
Next show, it was Mark Hamill.
No, it's the original voice of Skeletor from the 1983 Filmation series. That's who I hear when Skeletor is talking.
I was hearing the Joker.
AKA the only voice he can do. Yes.
It's not a bad one to be able to do, to be honest, is it?
Not when you're doing the Joker, no, but when you're doing everyone else, maybe try and mix
Fair
it
enough.
up a little bit. Here's Kevin's pick.
Kevin had written, I thought this was a very cool image of He-Man and Teela cutting down their enemies. It reminds me of a Frank Frazetta painting. It's great. You know what I love about this? That everything is just red and grey and just dark. But then the good guys coming in, they're all very colourful, rushing in and just kicking ass. And it's great.
Yeah. I get like Teela there riding a unicorn with her sword is very She-Ra-esque as well.
Where does that come from?
I have no idea. She just has it.
Yeah, but this is the thing I want to talk about in the story as well. A lot of jumping around, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she just found a yellow unicorn and decided to ride it. But the only unicorn I remember seeing, like, She-Ra rides a unicorn, a winged unicorn, a Pegasus unicorn, but that's it. Yes, but it was a great page. It was on my list of pages to pick, but I think that Skeletor skull just did it for me. Connie sent a page in as well. Connie sent in,
this is on issue 4, when everyone is walking towards Evil Lynn's castle. She says, the scenery shots in this book are my favourite. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't completely sold on the character art for most of the volume, particularly after issue 3. But the scenery shots throughout the rest of the book are great. The colours are good, and I like the mix on this page of the Aztec-style pyramid structures and Evil Lynn's castle that looks like it came from a Lemony Snicket book.
It does.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah.
In a volcano, yeah.
It's like, how much evilness can you like cram into one like evil base? You've got your evil towers, your volcano, your Aztec pyramids. It's like, we get it, Evil Lynn. You're even called Evil Lynn. You can't be any more evil.
I know it's called Evil Lynn, and I totally acknowledge that the whole time. But in my head, I kept reading it as just Evelyn.
Evelyn. Well, her real name is Evelyn. Her real name is Evelyn Powers. So that's how she becomes Evil Lynn.
Fair enough.
But yes, so that was the art. I mean, it was a mixed bag, like we said. It is very hit and miss throughout this. Because it changes so jarringly, you do tend to like take a second glance. It can go from overly cartoony to overly, I don't know, it just wasn't for me. None of the artists on this book, unfortunately, were my favorite. I would prefer the Filmation animation style if you did it just like that. But yes, so that was the art anyway. How about the overall story? Let's start with Mr. Sleeps a Lot here.
Well, do you want to start with me? Because it's just I'm still trying to wake up from reading this book, to be honest. I feel awful for saying it. Again, it's not that it's written badly, or it did not grip me in any way, shape, or form for entertainment purposes. I'm not a huge He-Man fan. I am aware more than Scott would be of like the kind of the world, the universe, and who the characters were. But after reading this, I feel like I care less for them than I should care for.
Oh,
You know, it's just I had no interest. I lost interest after the first 3 or 4 issues, and whenever he got the power back, he lifted the sword and he was shouting, "I have the power," and all this kind of stuff. Like power, as we say in Northern Ireland.
Power.
Power. Yeah.
Car.
Yeah. I feel like it picked up, I suppose. But then even then, like they kind of he dealt with Skeletor pretty easily. He didn't really pose that much of a threat, did he?
No.
His biggest threat throughout the whole thing was obviously sending these different kind of like merman and what's the other guy? What was the guy's first name? Something Jaw. For his name.
Lockjaw.
Yeah,
Lockjaw.
Lockjaw.
And like sending them like that was his kind of thing. And he even mentioned himself that Evil Lynn, if she chose to do so, could take Skeletor out essentially. You know, she'd be a threat to him. So I just feel like Skeletor, for being this big bad, he didn't really. It was quite easy.
Yeah, but I think He-Man wasn't holding back this time. You know, for years and years, He-Man has held back, hasn't he? He's not been like.
Don't know.
Well, yeah, but I think this is probably my fault. Because I didn't know Volume 1 was going to be like this. I think if I had chose Volume 2, where He-Man is already He-Man, you know, maybe
Well,
you two
always-
would have enjoyed it a little bit better.
There's always sequels month.
Yeah.
There you go. Chris from Off My Shelves is in. Hi, Chris. He says, I didn't read this week's because it's He-Man. What's that supposed to mean? And he was always going to be a fairly by-the-numbers book. Fair enough, yeah. If you know the TV show, that makes perfect sense. And the art seems absolutely uninteresting from those pages. Could not agree more, Chris.
Yeah.
If I had seen the art before I told myself I was going to read this, it probably would have put me off as well, unfortunately. But yeah, the art is not great.
The first time I saw the art was last week when we done the little video for the next week's pick, and I thought, oh, I don't.
You
like
did
it.
mention it last week. You were like, "That's the art."
Well, there's part of me, I was looking forward to this, and Shane, I know you might hate me for saying this, but honestly, for the guys who are watching and listening, if you want a good, entertaining He-Man saga, the Netflix show is far superior than this. Honestly.
Yes, the 3D animated one.
No.
Yes, the second series that they brought out is very, very, very entertaining. I agree with you 100%, Phil.
Stop trying to trigger Shane.
Yeah, I am trying to get a rise out of him.
Yeah, stop it.
But no, in all
He-Man and the
fairness,
Masters of the Universe. It's a great animated show on Netflix. Second half of season 2 is up.
It bored me. It didn't. And again, I think for new readers as well, I know Scott's obviously a new reader come into this. I don't think it done a good enough job to capture them as fans. I'd be very surprised if people read this book. And Cody mentioned this is for He-Man fans. I'd be very surprised if there were people who were new to this, read this book, and jumped on board He-Man and love He-Man because of this. There's many other He-Man iterations that were more entertaining than this.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's sad, but I completely understand what you're saying. As a He-Man fan, like I say, great. I feel like this is for me. This has aged with me, like with Power Rangers, the book we read a few months back. Like that aged with me. This has aged with me. You know, there's killing and blood and everything. But I see what the writer was trying to do with, like I say, the memory loss to try and let the reader learn as Adam learns. But I completely get it. If you were expecting He-Man from issue 1 and you didn't get it for 5 issues, yeah, 100% I understand, and I can't fault your opinions for that because it makes perfect sense.
I just feel like they could even just do a retelling of like the first volume could have been a retelling of the 80s cartoon in 6 issues. Give us a retelling of the whole thing.
Yeah,
instead of trying
or maybe
to start
like Skeletor's origin of how he went from Keldor to Skeletor.
Yeah.
You know, like how he went from human to skull face guy.
But the thing is too, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but DC, they haven't always owned the He-Man franchise. It's been banded about a few different publishers, hasn't it?
Yes, so they had the rights to the mini comics in 1981, DC. So they did the mini comics that came with the action figures and stuff. And then in 1985, Marvel had the rights to it. So everyone that has the first appearance of He-Man in a comic book, like I think Pete from
Pete has
Triple G Comics has got about
like 5
12 of them.
Yeah.
He's so greedy, that guy. The G stands for greed.
Triple greed.
So like that's iconically the first appearance, but that's the first Marvel appearance. So if you actually have the mini comic from DC, you'll have the first actual appearance of He-Man, and
So
then it
this
came
is-
back to He-Man, back to DC.
So this is the point I was trying to make. Like, at what point, like, again, it's no one's fault. Like, DC, at what point do they take off? Do you know what I mean? Like, where do they take it off from? So they had to start somewhere, and maybe they couldn't do the retelling of the show, or they couldn't go that far back because of the Marvel stuff, whatever. So like, maybe they had to take it from here. They had to find a clever way to kind of bring this in at this point. But just for me, for getting rid of all the ownership and the licenses and stuff, as a fan, or well, potentially a fan of He-Man, I just think start off from the beginning. You know, like you say, hi, your man Grayskull becomes Grayskull, or Skeletor becomes Skeletor, and this kind of stuff. Like, start off from the beginning. But that's just me.
Yeah,
And this would have been New 52 time, roughly,
Yes.
when DC rebooted everything anyway. So why couldn't
So
they do that?
exactly. Yeah, you could have had Adam meeting the sorceress and getting his sword and becoming He-Man by the end of the first issue. Like you say, make it a bumper issue. So give it an extra 10 pages. Yeah, I agree. As much as I enjoyed this, because like I say, it threw me because I had no idea what they were going with, and I thought they were rewriting it. So it was a nice little treat for me. But I will say, Phil, there is a book that you will love because it has Dolph Lundgren He-Man in it, and it's called The Masters of the Multiverse. So it's a 6-issue miniseries where He-Man meets every version of He-Man from every different universe, and it is a great read with all the He-Mans in it. So give that a go.
Nice. I will definitely.
And there's also a Masters of the Universe versus Injustice. So you have He-Man versus Superman if you feel like having a little crossover.
See, sometimes this is another thing too, because I know the Turtles and the Power Rangers have done kind of crossovers. Sometimes I think when you do these crossovers, it almost cheapens the character slightly. Do you know what I mean? Like they're trying to get it to fit in on purpose.
Yeah, but He-Man has fought Superman before, way back in the 80s in DC. So
who won?
Well, Superman, obviously. No, I think it depends, doesn't it? Because Adam is magic and Superman is weak to magic. So it all depends who the writer's favorite is. There's also a He-Man vs Thundercats, which is a great 6-issue miniseries if you like Thundercats as well.
Again, that was another one which is a few years before my time. I'm aware of it, but I mean, I was born in '86. My first, I think there was a comment. I think it was from Kevin. My first kind of cartoon was the Turtles. The main cartoon was the Turtles. That's my era. So this is slightly before it. I'm aware of it. It's in my older brother watched those things. But if we do a Turtles book, I'm on board with that.
Definitely pick a Turtles book at some point. Triple G's just popped in. Hey Pete, thanks. He says, hi all, just dropping in on my way to the cinema to say this book was uber poop. Okay. Uber poop. Wow. So it looks like I am in a minority of one.
Yeah,
I thought
he was your one hope, wasn't he?
Yeah, I thought Pete would have helped you out a bit here, but nope.
But nope, it's uber poop.
Uber
so
poop.
I guess I'm really confused then as to why I like it.
Is it right? Let's go deep now, okay? Is it because you love the show and you have this nostalgia for it, and you have this love for the whole series and the characters, plus it's a giant ripped man, and are you just you're subconsciously biased to the fact that like I've loved everything else about the universe, so I will love this, or are you genuinely enjoying this?
Well, I would have gone with the first choice if I didn't absolutely hate the Masters of the Universe versus Injustice, because I love He-Man and I love the Injustice universe, but that 6-part miniseries was absolute tripe.
Right.
Like there was no redeeming quality at all from the art to the story. And yet that's 2 universes that I love, and you just put them together.
See, what I think Scott was going with is this comment from Chris. So it's quite telling how much you spoke about what you wanted the story to be rather than what the story was. I think that you would have liked this regardless what it was, because if you're a fan, but it could have been better. but you still like the overall because of like your fandom.
Oh,
But
yeah.
they could have went a different route, and you still would have loved it regardless. I think.
Yeah, as long as they kept with the the mature aspect, because like Connie said, this is for He-Man fans, and I think it's not just for He-Man fans of all ages. I think it's of He-Man fans who grew up watching He-Man. So this book aged with me, if that makes sense. Like there's blood, there's death, there's everything that I want in He-Man now that I didn't want as a kid, because I wanted the happy ending, I wanted the hope, and I wanted the moral at the end of every episode.
Oh, so it wasn't the cartoon wasn't that gory then. I say gory.
The cartoon wasn't gory at all. He-Man was never allowed to cut anyone with his sword. His sword was for deflecting only.
Oh,
And he was only ever allowed to punch people or throw them.
Well, I guess I'm starting to understand more then why you did enjoy it, because it is giving you that stuff you probably wanted to see growing up watching this stuff, and you go, oh, come on, just cut him once, and then but like but then at the start of this whole book, you literally do see Adam poking Beastman with that twig. He's throwing his axe, he's cutting him, he's stabbing him. So all this, I mean, it's going to definitely appeal to you, but for me and Phil, we don't know any different. We didn't know that, so we're just seeing this as any other kind of action, mythical, fantastical action story.
Without all the fantastical detail.
So yeah, I'm starting to get it now from you.
Okay.
I'm starting to understand.
I think Pete makes a good. He says, I think sometimes because I love the property so much, it makes me critical. I just thought this was dull. So like he loved the property, and he's able to say he didn't like it. He did say the last issue was decent. So I'll take that. Thanks, Pete. Comment of the night.
Clip it.
I agree. The last issue was decent, but for what I was trying to make, that should have happened at issue 3, and then maybe give us another 2 issues of something else, to that same level. That scene, by the way, was a cool scene where he threw the sword to break the branch on purpose.
Through the axe, yeah.
And he's like, "You missed." He's like, "No, I didn't." And he picked up the branch and he stabbed him with it. That was cool. I liked it.
Yeah, it was clever.
Yeah,
it was good.
I think Highland G makes a good point. I just want to, sorry, this is just to help me out a little bit, Scott. Says it's perfectly okay to like something that is bad as long as it entertained you at the time. Thank you, Highland G. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to bring up the fact that I think things jumped a bit too much. Sometimes we jumped forward a bit too quickly. I can't remember what it was now. It was between issue 2 and 3.
After the merman battle, where they were on the life raft. Is that one?
It was the one.
Or when
it was
they
the
just
one where
appeared on the boat.
Yeah, when they just appeared on the boat. That's what it was, and I was like, "Huh?" Like how? So there was a few. That was the biggest one for me, the biggest jump, and I was like, "Oh, okay, why?" And then, it wouldn't have been much bothered to see, a couple of panels going, "Hello, sir, can we go on your boat?" And that was it. But then there was like the other one I can remember is when Adam is now He-Man, and they go to take a vote on if Adam should go alone or not, and then just jumps off, and he's just having a sulk by a wall, and Teela's like, "Well, what did you expect?" Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, there was quite a few of these, and I still get them, like, why? Like, I understand editing and all that, but I don't know.
Is it because you think because there were 2 different writing? I'm not saying they wrote different scenes, whatever, but obviously trying to put this 6-issue run together as a coherent story, maybe it's not as easy if the writer for the previous issue was slightly different or whatever. Maybe that's something to do with it. But yeah, I definitely noticed it was noticeable in this 6-issue series that it jumped so much.
Liam does raise a good point there. He does say, he says, to be fair, when they appeared on the boat, there was at least some context given through the dialogue, unlike the unicorn.
Yes. Yeah, because Teela does say she had to trade her sandworm, tremor, graboid thing.
Those like horses or whatever they were,
and then he had to work his ticket off, didn't he, Adam?
Yeah.
To swab the decks.
The thing is too, somebody mentioned it before. the kind of go between of Adam and Tila, it wasn't very entertaining. Like the kind of back and forth, it wasn't cute. It didn't even have like a brother sister vibe. It was a really weird conversation they were having, and it just kept on going. Like, they didn't change or they didn't grow together, type of thing. Even like Scott mentioned that scene where he was having a sulk. It's like they didn't seem to bond, until like the battle scene towards the end, and I feel like it's a bit strange.
Yeah, it's just snarky and snipey towards each other throughout the whole book,
but not even fun in a funny way.
No,
I can't remember a scene where it was quite, I smirked at it. It just wasn't. It was like unnecessary, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I ask?
Yes. Don't forget your Herd's Choice, everyone in the chat. If next week is your pick, don't forget.
Can I ask? Who, in total, were the masters of said universe?
Okay, so you have obviously He-Man. You have Man-at-Arms, Duncan, who is Teela's father.
Yeah.
You have Teela. You have Ram Man, who was in the bar, like when they all got their memories back. Yes, with the flat top.
Right.
And then you have the likes of Fisto and.
Fisto, why did you laugh at that?
Fisto. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
Fisto's just always been a very funny character.
Oh.
He's just a guy with
Are
a
you
big
being
metal
rude?
fist. No, he's just a guy with a big metal fist that punches people. He's called Fisto.
Sounds great. I want to see more of Fisto. I want some Fisto.
We want to spin off Fisto.
And then you have Mechanic and Triclops and like all of He-Man's people, all the good guys. They're the masters of the universe.
Right.
I feel like for these names, they're almost like scraping the bottom of the barrel here of like superhero names. They're not very good, are they?
I like
Well, they're
Triclops.
descriptive.
Yeah.
Yeah, Triclops has 3 eyes, one circle, 1 triangle, 1 square.
Like a PlayStation controller.
Is his mouth the X then?
Maybe that's where it came from. He-Man predates the PlayStation, so maybe that was their inspiration. I think so.
I just made a complete and utter mistake anyway. Triclops is a bad guy. He actually works for Skeletor. Many Faces is the good version. He has 3 faces.
That's loads.
So, yes. That's 2 more than you need.
That's many faces.
They should have called him Many Faces instead of Many Faces. They missed the trick there, didn't they, Scott?
Yeah.
But yeah, the writing, I see your point completely. For me, I was a little bit jarred with the Castle Grayskull stuff. You might not know this, but within the walls of Castle Grayskull, the sorceress is the most powerful being on Eternia. So even with the help of Orko, I have no idea how Skeletor took the castle and had her bound and was torturing her. That I'm interested to see this continue because I can't believe that she's dead. So I think in volume 2 or something she has to come back because I refuse to believe that the sorceress is dead. She can't be hurt within the walls of Castle Grayskull. She's too powerful.
Bitch is dead.
So that just completely just destroyed my childhood when he just decapitated the sorceress and showed her to He-Man and Teela. No. So yes, there was that.
Again, we didn't see much of her. Her role wasn't really explained. Like for a new reader, you didn't see enough, of her to understand her actual role. Like it's not until the end where you realize that she was the one responsible for the bird, or whatever the thing was, the fake bird. Yeah. Like you don't find that out till the end, but it kind of gave us something before. Even her trying to kind of conjure up the spell of creating the bird and sending it out through the window or something. Like to give us something more of her.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Because I've always loved the sorceress. She's been like one of my favorite characters from the cartoon. I think one other thing that jarred me quite a bit was everyone knew that Adam was He-Man. Like literally everyone, all the bad guys, all the good guys. It's like, then what's the point of Adam? Like you just stay as He-Man forever. If that was the case, there's no point in turning back into scrawny little runt, is there? When you've got the power, just stay as He-Man.
Yeah, totally.
Like Black Adam. Black Adam stays as Black Adam. He doesn't turn back into Tef Adam, does he? Just stay as the big muscular guy if everyone knows who you are. So that was very jarring for me, being a bit of a He-Man nut.
Oh, negative from Shane. Okay, cool.
Yeah, see, I am able to see the flaws in this book. I just actually enjoyed it.
If we had
Good.
it,
I'm glad. Like we've said before, there is a comic for everyone.
Absolutely.
And I am glad you've liked it. Sometimes it is a bit of fun when we all just absolutely hate on a book, but I'm glad that one of us has liked it, and there are positives. Like, you've made me realize some stuff because of the whole nostalgia stuff, and you've taught me stuff about the show and how it was. So now I kind of appreciate a bit more why they've done certain things in the book, and to give you reasons why you liked it.
Awesome. And I'm just going to give you one little spoiler, one little 40-year-old spoiler. The sorceress, her name is Tila Na. She's Tila's mother.
now you just
Dun,
ruined
dun,
it for me.
A 40-year-old spoiler. Oh no.
Never read on. I'm not reading on now. That's it.
Do you have anything else to say before we move into thoughts and scores?
No, don't.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Oh. Then let's get into our verdicts. If you did read along in the chat, please share your scores.
You sure?
Don't worry about my feelings. Yep, don't worry about my feelings. I'm a big boy.
Right.
Give your honest scores, please, and we will add them to ours as always. Phil, do you want to kick us off?
Okay, let's get the negative out of the way. This, for me, it did bore me. I can't deny it. It didn't entertain me. I don't have the same nostalgia towards it that you would have. Given that I'm slightly younger, but I can't brag too much because Scott's even younger than me. So we'll keep it at that. It's just, I don't know. I don't think I've done a good enough job. If this was trying to capture new readers and trying to bring new people into this in the hope that it would make more sales of the book or maybe merchandise or whatever, I don't think this done a good enough job at doing that for new readers. The art we've mentioned before, I mean, it's not very good when you have 6 issues, but in between issues you have pages from a different artist and different colorist, and it's like you can notice it, and I don't like that for a complete volume. The idea that you had 6 issues, multiple writers, multiple colorists, different artists through 6 issues, I think is wrong. I think you should be able to have 6 issues at minimum, like a full story arc with 2 creators, like writer, artist, colorist, whatever. It's fine. But I just think that was too many. I can't get past the overriding. I like feeling that this did bore me slightly, but I don't want people to think that it's a bad book. It's not written badly or anything like that. It's fine. It's just, for me, it didn't grip me. And I can't see past a 5. Sorry, I'll say something else. I'll say the score. It's a 5. It's a 5 for me. I think, again, average, run of the mill, right to the middle of the road. Not bad, not good. Won't read on unless it's picked for the Herd's Choice or Sequels Month. But yeah, this is where my He-Man adventure ends. But I think I might watch that Netflix show once again.
Well, I mean, that's more than I thought you'd give it. So, wow. I'll take that. Scott, how about you?
This was a good, fun introduction, I think. Yeah, we saw a lot of variety, a lot of different types of characters. You can definitely tell there's some 80s names going on there. Beastman, Merman, Evil Lyn. It's all a bit of, it's just a good bit of 80s cheese, I think. But it was good nonetheless. I learnt a lot, and it was just fine. It was really hard. I just couldn't say the word enjoyable. Sorry. It was just a bit of fun, and but unfortunately there wasn't that kind of nostalgia for me. But I really appreciate the nostalgia you have for it, Shane, and how how much love you have for the series, and and you can see that, you can tell. But this is definitely a story for the fans, and it maybe lost a trick when trying to grab new fans, I think. But I'm going to up my score just a tiny bit because of what you told me today, Shane, and I'm going to give it a 5.5.
Ooh, nice. Thank you very much. That's
You're welcome.
nice. Like the score went up from the chat. That's awesome. I think mine's probably gone down a bit after this chat. My score. So while I'm giving my scores, you've got a few more minutes to give your scores for this, and also send in your picks for next week's Herd Choice. So I think my nostalgia is probably besting my rational thinking for this. After the chat, I understand both of your points and how this maybe isn't for new readers. Like at first I was like, oh, this could be for new readers. You're following Adam as he learns about the universe and about everyone else. I thought, what a great way to introduce everyone to this universe by following Adam as he becomes He-Man again for the first time. I thought that would be a really good way to introduce new readers, but apparently not. So my bad. But I enjoyed it. I'm going to carry on reading. I want to read the next one because I want to finish Master of the Universe, and then I definitely want to get to Eternia Wars, and maybe reread Masters of the Multiverse, because that was a fun little throwaway read. The art is it's not great. You can't, like Phil said, you can't do 6 issues with 4 or 5 artists and 3 writers. It doesn't work.
Yeah, it didn't.
One person writing, one person drawing, at least for the very first trade, to get you in, so you know what you're in for. So with that's obviously a negative, and some of the things that happened that I'm not too happy about, Adam's identity being out and the sorceress dying, I'm going to give this a 7.5 because I did enjoy it more than you two, but it's not a perfect book by any stretch of the imagination, and that art is unforgivable, I'm afraid. You can't just have 2 random pages by one artist in a book as well. Like if it's half and half, maybe I could forgive you, but like it's just 2 pages.
I have to say, like with comic books, they're really what's the word? Like they lead you in. Like never judge a book by its cover. The covers look fantastic, and then the art you get from inside, give us more what's on the cover, even though it's kind of Alex Ross esque painted style almost, but just it's so much nicer than what's inside. Shame.
Definitely tricked. Do we have any scores in? Let's have a quick look. We have 1, 2, 3. I've got 4 scores.
Yeah, and I've got 2 more. One from Pete and one from Martin as well.
Oh, I don't know if I want to hear Pete's. He said it was uber poop. Connie says, I'm going to give this one a 6. I love when a series can interest me in a character, and unfortunately, this didn't make me want to get to know more of the He-Man lore. That's a shame. I feel like I've let He-Man down by picking this. I should have picked volume 2 because it is worth reading on, or trying to find some older issues, because the lore is great for He-Man. James Copley, I'm sorry, but I enjoyed Onslaught Unleashed. 2.5. Wow. Kevin, I'll give it a 5. It just didn't pull me in. It's still probably the best He-Man media I've consumed. Wow. Guess he's not a fan of the 80s show or any of the Netflix stuff. The Funky Gibbons. This book didn't bore me, as Connie said. It's a kids' show in comic book form. I think it helps that I have no previous history of He-Man, which helped me enjoy it a bit more. 6 out of 10. Highest, Connie and Liam both score it a 6 for different reasons, which is nice.
I'll move on to Pete. He said, I read this last night and it did nothing for me. It did nothing for me. I found it rather dull until the last issue kicked off. Art was meh. Overall, a 6 from me.
Oh, okay, that's higher than I thought for Uber Poop.
Uber Poop. Sorry, and he's just sent me a Herd's Choice as well, so I'll get that in. And then we've also got one from Martin as well. So he said, I did find this a fun read, and as a fan of He-Man growing up, I went into it with a nostalgic feeling. So he would have been on your side, Shane. I liked the story, but it did feel like a rushed prologue for a bigger story, and there wasn't enough character development for new readers. This was more for current fans of He-Man that know something about the world and the characters. I'm fighting with my nostalgia here, taking that away. This is going to be a 6 from me.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
scores are in. Are you ready?
Not as bad as I thought. Go on.
So we had 4 6s, a 5, and a 2.5, which give the audience an average of 5.3. Adding that onto Phil's 5, Shane's 7.5, and my 5.5, we get a total of 5.8.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not
okay.
bad.
That's okay.
Considering like how much people have downed it, like I'll take a 5.8.
Okay. Well, let's see where it goes in the leaderboard.
Top 10.
You made it. You're in the top 10. Unfortunately, this is last place at the moment.
It's 6 in the top 10. I'll take that.
6th place. Yeah. There we go. Right. Now the bit you've all been waiting for. It is Herd's choice. I've been taking down all of your suggestions as we've been going along, and I have the wheel here. Right, so I think we've got them all. We've got Lewis with Venom, Lethal Protector, Highland G, It's a Bird, Lee and Beth, Nice House on the Lake, Connie, Batman the Imposter, Kev and Chris, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen Volume 1, James with Lazarus Volume 1, Tottenham Gaming with The Punisher, King of Killers, and Pete with Stray Dogs.
Ooh,
So give us a shuffle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and good luck. Let's see who we land on.
Who's it going to be this time?
Oh, it's Pete. That was so close to Highland G, but there we go. Pete has taken it there with Stray Dogs. Perfect.
Nice.
Thank you very much. That's quite good for Pete, because he's just bought some Nerd Herd merchandise as well, so he can get now some his book and his bookmark and his stickers as well to go with it as well.
So you get your bookmarks and of course stickers. You have stickers and bookmarks in there for you, of course. That'll be sent out probably tomorrow, because I'm like good like that.
You are good like that. But yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Yes, and maybe Pete can join us next week to talk about Stray Dogs if he's free. I'd love to have him on. So
100%.
That was my pick. Yeah, so 5.8. I'm actually quite happy with that. It's above average, which is great. Do we have a Kev's draw? Is Kev?
Yeah, Kev is doing an episode.
Where is our little promo for it?
Here it is.
Picture.
Ah, thank you. How to draw He-Man. Look at that. Oh, that's the classic 80s He-Man in his chest armor. Oh, Kev. Oh, yes.
Okay, calm down slightly. Come on.
That is awesome. So that is tomorrow at 7, is it, Scott?
Correct.
7 p.m. over on the Nerd Herd YouTube channel. If you want to see how to draw He-Man, I think we should maybe at the artists of this book, so because they might need a little help on how to draw He-Man.
I don't think we should poke fun at the professional artists in case we get banned. Or cancelled.
But yes, so next week, Stray Dogs.
Look forward to it.
Yes, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for reading along. I'm sorry some of you didn't enjoy it as much as I did. Hopefully my next pick, which will be, can't remember. I can't tell you yet. Anyway, what am I doing?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, hopefully my next pick will be better.
It'll be Christmas though.
I can't keep secrets. I'm terrible.
We'll tell it. It'll be our Christmas wave, won't it? Am I right?
It will be our
Yes,
Christmas
yeah.
wave. So yes, it'll be a Christmas title. There you go. There's a little sneak peek at my next pick. He-Man does Christmas.
Oh God, He-Man ruins
No.
Christmas.
I'm busy that week.
But yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Really appreciate it. We will see you next week. But until then, get your waves out.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Love you.